Fifth overall draft pick Devon Witherspoon shut down Jamar Chase last Sunday, looking like a leading Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. Alright, in truth, the matchup between Chase and Spoon is slightly overblown, given one is a nickel/corner and a receiver moves around and defenses don't play man-to-man on all of their snaps. But when Chase did get matched up with Spoon, Spoon won most of those scenarios. He was also a really key part of Seattle's victory over the Bengals and their defensive dominance. And, he was last week too. I just couldn't do back-to-back episodes on Spoon. But he's making it so hard to ignore him, and I just had to dive into this week's tape. He is a genuine Defensive Rookie of the Year leader. Like, if he doesn't win it, he's going to be one of the nominations. It didn't take long for Spoon to make his impact felt. Second play of the game here, coming as a blitzer off the edge, and ironically ends up stopping a pass designed for Jamar Chase while blitzing. Great disguise. See how he's late, really, really late at the snap to come off the edge, but times it up well with the cadence. Didn't really tip his hand. It looked like press man. There he comes off the edge to the B-gap bubble side with the end spiking inside to set the path up. Gets his hands up. Really great reaction time to this type of pass to recognize that the ball's been pulled and he can't get the sack here. He's not going to go for the hit. He understands the ball's coming out fast, given the run action and the run kind of fake, and that he can get a pass breakup, which he does. And it's quite important because on the back end, Seattle, I believe both Trey Brown and Quandre Diggs are reading the two, but whatever the coverage, Bobby Wagner's trying to get to this number two. The void of the coverage is here, this little hole, and something that run-pass option plays can access, as Burrow showed later in the game. Spoon's the one who stops this being completed to Chase, stops it because it would have been an easy completion, really. And you can see here, I think this really shows how impressive the quick reaction time is. Like, this happens so damn fast. That kind of processing, on-the-fly, reactive athleticism, really. Very, very cool stuff. Now, Burrow and the Bengals were pretty good at beating this with that kind of quick hitch RPO in behind. But against the run, Spoon as a blitzer still had a real impact also. Here he's coming off the edge again, and his ability to make the play on this type of run, which is, I'll get into why it's hard for Seattle's defense that they're in. But here, notice the subtle redirection with the kind of path of the running back. He takes that kind of step outside, which if the ball was pulled, would give him a shot at making a play on the throwing lane to this number two hitch. Again, kind of, I told you that they were beating it with the hitch. Well, Spoon's kind of adapting in game. And then an ability to, once he's seen that ball clearly handed off in the belly of the running back, to redirect round and get involved on the tackle, make first contact on the back, be that extra hitter for Seattle, and on the 2nd of 3, brings up 3rd and 1. Now, why is it a difficult concept for Seattle? Well, on paper, the Bengals do have the numbers. Like, if we're going to look at the box count, this kind of gap concept, the Bengals obviously have the numbers in the box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for 6 Seattle defenders, plus obviously the running back. And this puller's coming around for Bobby Wagner. Brooks, if he follows this round, this puller should be able to go here. Jaron Reed's got a nice down block here. And in actual fact, Reed does a good job crossing face. Brooks is actually hiding behind Reed, but it does look as though there's a bit of a hole here. Brooks probably makes the tackle, but he doesn't even need to because of how well Spoon off the edge as the hitter, 1, shows up because I think they want to hit this front side, really. But then 2, on the cutback, contacts the running back low. It's an easy job for Brooks to just finish off this running back in the end. Now, one of the ways Seattle adjusted in this game was they stopped pressuring their nickel and they started pressuring different players or just playing man coverage. Now, here's an example of pressure of the middle linebacker, Bobby Wagner. Spoon's to the passing strength. Bengals shift into a trips formation. Spoon doesn't, usually the nickel would go to the passing strength, but he doesn't run with it. He just slots along. Here's Jordan Brooks down here. Bobby Wagner's going to blitz, and the impact of that is he gets matched up on the running back. Basically, Seattle gets into 5 guys down at the line of scrimmage. Blitzing, Wagner on the running back. You see how he gets involved, kind of making Joe Burrow at least uncomfortable, forcing the ball out with some consistency. Now, Spoon here is really impressive. He first of all disguises in the open B gap as though he's a blitzer, which messes with protection, really ensures that Wagner gets on that running back and none of these linemen pick him up. it holds this guard up here on Spoon, and you can see how that guard is paying attention to him before doubling the nose tackle. So it's valuable work. He's already been established as a blitzing threat as well. Now, in terms of the coverage that Spoon does here, Seattle's basically playing with these two deep safeties, and on this side of the formation, it's basically like a cover 4 sort of thing, where Jordan Brooks is dropping inside of that number 2, Trey Brown's dropping deep on this quarter, Quandre Diggs is kind of in a deep quarter here. So when this receiver goes shallow, a bit like we spoke about in my last video, in the Bobby Wagner video, someone has to take him back across because these guys are all run off here. This guy is going to be wide open unless someone takes him back. And Spoon, where he's probably relating to the number 2, is the guy tasked with that. You notice he initially looks at this running back to check it's not a run fake, but also because that's his first guy to relate to. Then quickly glances over for this guy to see if he's quick back across the field, and then eyes right to Jamar Chase. Now, if we just roll this through, the way that Spoon's able to respond so quickly to all the different threats, plant his foot in the ground, and then break up the football, super, super impressive. I imagine he got a quick undercall from Reek Woolen on the outside here. Knows that this route is going to be overlapped by Woolen, but also Julian Love is the deep player on that side of the field. Sticks his foot in the ground. Brilliant stuff. And great awareness and relating to the receivers threatening his responsibility. But I love the path that he's able to take to that football. He's not just breaking towards the receiver. This is legitimately breaking up the ball. You can see how it almost looks like a round cut. He knows that he's thought of as like an inside leverage, and he knows that the space is here. So he rounds off and breaks right to where the catch point is and gets his hand firmly on that pass, on that ball, swats it incomplete. And he's very happy with himself afterwards, as you would be. Really quick scanning. Excellent pass breakup, and there's the nice celebration. Didn't get flagged for the taunting, which could have happened. That's just right. Just way to celebrate. And on a 2nd and 3, where the Bengals probably thought, okay, we're going to keep this drive alive. We're going to get an easy completion underneath of the coverage. No, it's just denying everything and bringing up 3rd and 3, and suddenly it gets a bit more difficult. Now, I mentioned man-to-man, and Spoon did win that too. So this 2nd and 10 here, Bengals in empty. Seattle decides to rotate down to this side of the formation. Spoon, good job picking up Jamar Chase as the number 3 receiver. And, I mean, this is just brilliant. The ability to undercut this football. John Schneider spoke about it in the post-draft press conference. His ability to get to crossing routes. And it is rare. It's what separates the top corners from the lesser guys. And it's really, really talent-based. So look at how Spoon is able to stay square in this position for so long and patient. Chase is forced to kind of run around him almost. He tries the skinnier surface, but Spoon still gets 2 hands on, is able to transition during that approach. He's then riding in the pocket and knows he can go for the undercut because ultimately he has his help here. And this move to sort of get in that hip pocket that way with Jamal Adams here is how that pass breakup happens. Okay, it hits him in the head, but I mean, that the fact it hits him in the head is how effective his path was. Joe Burrow didn't think he was going to do that. Not many defenders are able to do that sort of thing. I think this angle is beautiful from the end zone because you see him here in this position, patient. Almost looks like he's keying that number, doesn't it? Which is the Pete Carroll preference for coaching this sort of technique. Pete Carroll teaches the number, not the near hip. Spoon kind of takes an outside leverage approach, sees Chase clearly departing, stays square for so long, is able to transition. Chase is disrupted, timing's disrupted. Burrow's intent on going there still. It looks like he's got a window, but Spoon at the perfect moment, it actually kind of hits him in the side of the head, which again speaks to how good his positioning was. Brilliant stuff. Now, what's really impressive is 2 drives earlier, Spoon was matched up on Chase on a crossing route again in press coverage. Here he is in the slot, and he's clearly learned from this moment. Now, he loses kind of, but he's losing to his post safety, so it's not really losing. It's also a case of Chase running around him more than kind of beating him. But you can see here how Chase is kind of separated vertically. Now, like I said, he's got help in the post. He's not really beat necessarily. But you can see the moment of separation happens where Spoon tries to really kick inside and Chase gets a nice push in the chest and it's a bit of separation, albeit to where Spoon's help is in the post. What was great on the play for everyone in downfield man coverage is Jaron Reed's ability to quickly recognize what pass protection they're getting out of the play action, the pull, realize he's one-on-one, rip through for almost an instant pressure and get the sack, actually. So let's go back to that Giants pick 6, because Spoon's ability to learn during games and from what he's been shown is something that I feel wasn't covered enough on that pick 6, or I haven't seen it covered. I know the pick 6 was covered ad nauseum, and it's a really exciting play. And here he did a good job of staying patient on the return routes, staying in between. I don't know what Daniel Jones was trying to throw to, but you see there's a corner here, there's a hitch here, there's a hitch here, the spacing's off, the throw's errant, and Spoon, brilliant job intercepting. And then you just knew as soon as he did this, didn't you, that he was scoring, because he's just a playmaker, and that ability to cut back. But what really impressed me about this, though, is just 4 plays earlier, and Seattle was in like a red zone cover 3 at their goal line there. But 4 plays earlier, when Spoon was playing in like a curl of cover 2, sort of trying to relate to the inside receiver here, the Giants ran a very similar concept. So here's the hitch, they're not return routes. There's the corner route from the inside receiver. Spoon did a decent job expanding out to the inside hitch, but the outside hitch was complete. Woolen being pretty cautious, getting some depth for the corner, and they got 6 yards on the play on the 2nd and 9, brought up 3rd and 3. But the fact that he was able to recognize, okay, that they like that concept, and then they get this same damn thing, and he runs that back for 6 in a slightly different coverage technique, albeit. Very, very cool. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, which is so exciting, is the energy that Spoon brings to the defense, along with Jamal Adams. So when Seattle's in their dime grouping, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DBs out on the field, Spoon and Adams are often both in the slot, either side of each other, and they're just running around after each other. So here, Adams makes a great play on the check down, big hit, and watch Spoon's reaction to this play, and then watch them both run off. This is a kind of swagger that hasn't been present in the Seahawks defense for so long. Okay, Adams brought it, but when Spoon starts bringing it, then you see Julian Love get after it. And you even see Quandre Diggs, who obviously is a bit less enthusiastic sometimes. Even he's getting excited. And it does help, obviously, that Seattle's playing cool defense, but I think the kind of vibe to them is very exciting. Speaking of energy, this 3rd and 10 at the end of the half is real kind of evidence again of Adams and Spoon wrecking shop. So again, it's dime. Spoon's in the cover 2 curl. He looks as though he's kind of more in a match on this number 2, but he passes it off to Bobby Wagner. Joe Burrow's in trouble in the pocket, and Jamal Adams decides, okay, I'm going to take my shot now because he's escaping up and out. Adams takes his shot, gets after Burrow, ends up hitting Joe Burrow at the end of the play, forcing the ball out. Now, watch Spoon's path on this play. He's all over the field, gets back to the check down, tries to stay upfield, don't want to give him a big play on the 3rd and 10, and then works back with Burrow as he's scrambling, and then works back to his check down, and they somehow complete the pass, but he's all over that check down eventually. Was almost trying to bait it towards the end. And yeah, to me, it's just these 2 roaming playmakers who are bringing such a cool vibe to the defense. So in terms of defensive rookie of the year, there's no reason Spoon can't do it. It helps he has that top 5 pick pedigree. Obviously, the last DB to do it was last season when Sauce Gardner in 2022 had 2 interceptions. Before that, Marshawn Lattimore in 2017, he ended up with 5 interceptions and he won the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. I think for a nickel, it's slightly different though. I mean, Spoon's impacting the game in a lot of ways. He's in and around the line of scrimmage. And of course, there's no reason not to play him on the perimeter a bit as well because of how he can impact the game from that spot too. The last Seahawk to win Rookie of the Year was Russell Wilson in 2012, but Seattle's never had a defensive player do it. And Witherspoon is looking so damn good. Of course, his rival for this is going to be Jalen Carter, and that makes it fun. But what is also fun is how damn good the defense and Witherspoon is playing in it. And I'm going to enjoy this throughout the season. I'm going to have to keep trying not to do Witherspoon videos because it's really, really special what we're seeing. Let me know if you think Spoon will win Defensive Rookie of the Year in the comments section down below. And make sure you check out Griff's video on Jamal Adams, who also had a damn good game. I mean, who didn't on the defense? Please do like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I appreciate your support.